Okay, think about this. In your pocket, on your desk, maybe even in your garage, there's a tiny, ridiculously powerful device that basically runs your entire life. It is a masterpiece of chemistry, but here's the secret. It also holds the recipe for its own spectacular, fiery end. So today, we're going to peel back the cover on this little wonder and find out what makes it tick, and more importantly, what makes it go boom. And I'm not exaggerating. The phone you might be holding right now, the laptop you work on, the power tools that build our homes, even the electric cars that are completely changing how we get around, they all share the same tiny, powerful heart, the lithium-ion battery. It is the quiet, unsung hero of our modern age. And what's going on inside isn't just a bunch of chemicals sloshing around. Oh no, it's a ballet, a super precise, microscopic dance between ions and electrons. It's a performance so elegant, so world-changing, that it actually won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry back in 2019. And this is all happening billions of times a second just so you can watch cat videos. But, and this is the juicy part, if that super delicate ballet gets messed up, if just one dancer trips, that whole beautiful performance can instantly turn into a chaotic, fiery, and sometimes, well, explosive grand finale. And figuring out why that happens is just as fascinating as how it all works in the first place. So let's kick things off with the magic. How did this little power brick become maybe the single most important piece of tech of the 21st century? I mean, really think about what that Nobel Prize means. It wasn't just for some clever little gadget. It was for the one piece of tech that literally unshackled all of us from the wall socket. This is what made our world portable. This little battery is the reason the entire mobile revolution even happened. And just check out this list. It's so much bigger than just our phones and computers. We're talking about life-saving medical gear, the cordless tools that build our cities, and yeah, the cars that are driving us into the future. This technology is absolutely everywhere, quietly doing all the heavy lifting for us. All right, to understand the magic, you've got to meet the performers. There are 4 key players inside every single battery, and each one has a totally critical role in this amazing dance of energy. First up, we've got the cathode. That's our positive side. Just think of it as home base. When your battery is totally dead, all the little lithium ions are just chilling out here, waiting for the party to get started again. It's their default hangout spot. And on the other side of the club, you've got the anode, the negative side. Now, when you plug your phone into charge, you're basically forcing all those ions to leave their cozy home base and cram themselves into the anode. This is the waiting room, and it's just packed with potential energy, ready to be unleashed. So how do these ions get from one side to the other? Well, they travel through the electrolyte. This is the dance floor. It's a special chemical goo that lets our little lithium-ion dancers zip back and forth. But, and you have to remember this part, it does not let their grumpy cousins, the electrons, on the dance floor. And to keep everything from turning into a total brawl, we have the separator. This is the bouncer of our little battery club. It's this super thin sheet that stands between the anode and the cathode, making sure they never, ever touch, because that would be a complete disaster. But it has these teeny tiny holes that are just big enough for our VIP dancers, the lithium ions, to pass right through. Okay, let's bring it all together. When you unplug your phone and start using it, all those ions rush from that packed waiting room, the anode, back to their comfy home base, the cathode. But remember, their electrons can't cross the dance floor, so they have to take the long way around, right through your phone's circuits. And that movement is what powers your device. It's this constant back and forth motion that led some scientists to call it a rocking chair battery. The ions literally just rock from one side to the other, over and over again. Pretty cool, right? But what happens when the bouncer gets taken out and the dance floor catches fire? Yeah, this is where our little story takes a bit of a dark turn. For all its genius, this chemical ballet can go catastrophically wrong. And this comparison just says it all. On a good day, you get this beautiful, controlled release of energy. But when it fails, all of that energy that was stored up gets unleashed all at once. The perfect dance turns into a very dangerous, very fiery mosh pit. So what kicks all this off? Well, a few things you might have heard about. Dropping your phone and puncturing the battery cell, using some cheap, sketchy charger that crams way too much energy in, or maybe leaving it on the dashboard of your car on a hot summer day. And sometimes it's just a tiny, microscopic flaw from the factory that nobody could have ever seen coming. But almost all of these triggers lead to the exact same critical failure. And it's all thanks to one microscopic villain that turns our beautiful ballet into a bomb.
Meet the dendrite. When a battery is stressed out, these tiny, sharp, almost tree-like whiskers of lithium metal can actually start to grow inside. And they grow like microscopic little spears aimed directly at our hero, the bouncer, the separator.
So this is the most important point of all. What happens when one of those tiny spears finally breaks through? What happens when the bouncer fails and the anode and cathode are finally allowed to touch each other? You get something called thermal runaway, and it's a terrifyingly fast chain reaction. The dendrite connects the two sides, creating a short circuit inside the battery. A tidal wave of electrical current floods through that one tiny point, generating insane heat, instantly. That heat flash boils the liquid electrolyte, which then catches fire. The fire gets so hot that the cathode material itself starts to break down. And here is the truly mind-blowing part. As it decomposes, it releases its own oxygen, which fuels the fire from the inside. It really is an incredible piece of engineering, but it's also a system that has all the ingredients it needs for its own self-destruction. We are literally carrying a tiny, tamed fire in our pockets every single day.
This quote just nails it, right? A lithium-ion fire is a self-contained disaster. It has its own fuel from the electrolyte, it makes its own heat from the short circuit, and it even produces its own oxygen. It doesn't need any air from the outside to just keep on burning.
And that is the absolute most critical takeaway here. Because the fire brings its own oxygen to the party, you can't just smother it. And trying to douse it with water is often useless and can actually make things way worse by reacting with all the lithium. Now, before you run off and toss your phone in a bucket of sand, don't panic. Seriously. Failures like this are incredibly rare. Decades of smart engineering have built in all these amazing safety features, circuits that prevent overcharging, little vents to release pressure, and much stronger separators to stop those pesky dendrites. So the next time you feel your phone get a little warm in your hand, you're just feeling that chemical ballet in action. It's a huge testament to some brilliant engineering that this little potential firework that we carry around is almost always perfectly safe. So when it gets warm, just remember the tiny, amazing dance that's happening inside.